Hello everyone. In this video I wanted to briefly go over the big projects for the class, the formal projects, and I'm not going to go into great detail about them here other than just a quick overview because I'll go into much more detail later. Each one of these projects will get its own video. Uh, Before I get into that though, I want to mention that some people have been asking me about their grades for Edpuzzles. Unfortunately, I'm not able to put all the grades here into MindTap. Instead, I'm having to use D2L's gradebook to record all those. So what I'm going to do eventually is all of your grades will be in D2L gradebook. But for now, the only grades you'll be able to see are on MindTap, and those will just be for the MindTap activities. It's not that I'm not getting those Edpuzzles, it's just it'll take me a while to put them into D2L. So if you're worried about that, don't worry. As long as you've done the assignments, you'll be fine. Okay, let's look here at I'm looking at the syllabus at the resume, proposal, PowerPoint, presentation, tutorial, video, and documentation project. Just want to say a brief word about each one of those. So let's skip into the resume. And again, I'll be telling you much more about these projects as we go along. This one is really a good introduction to professional communication or technical writing. Everybody has to do a resume if they want to get a decent job, right? But it's more than just a resume. I want you to do some research about the field you're interested in, the career, and look at some job ads and find one that you might realistically apply to and write a cover letter in addition to the resume. So there's a few steps to this, but if it sounds intimidating, it's really not. And I think it's actually a nice way to plan for your future. A lot of students find when they're working on this project that they don't really have a lot of good stuff to put on their resume yet, but for most of you anyway, there's still time to do some volunteer work or to join some clubs or whatever it is to beef up your resume a little bit. The main thing about this, and again I'll go into this again later, is that this is a package for after you graduate. So I want you to assume that you have the degree that you're at St. Cloud State to earn, and that this is something you would put together for your your first job as a graduate of St. Cloud State. So it's not something for now. It's not a you're not applying for a job to deliver pizzas or whatever. This is for after you graduate and that first step in your new career. So anyway, you can. I think I've posted the instructions for this one on MindTap already if you want to take a look at it. The main reason I want to mention this now is that there's a step here at the Career Research Report, and most of this you can do online. Career Services Center here at St. Cloud State is a great place to go for information about your career. Occupational Outlook Handbook is a free government resource you can learn about, tells you about the salary you can expect and the competition growth rate of the field and all that. So it's really good to know. But the thing I really like to see is an interview with someone that's currently working in the field. And this can take a while to set up. You need to find somebody. If you already have a friend doing it, great, or a family member, that's great. But I really like for you to get in touch with somebody that's doing the kind of work that you want to do. And that's really going to be invaluable for you to actually talk to a person instead of just reading about a job or looking at it in a textbook, right? So really try to start thinking now about who you might interview. This is not a real formal thing, just a few questions I want you to ask. And don't forget, you can always pick up a phone and just call a company, tell them you're a student here, and they'll probably help you out that way. Or again, Career Services Center might be able to connect you. But I just mentioned this now because, it could take a while to set this up, so at least be thinking about who you might want to talk to. So that's this part. And let's move on to there we go. Let's go on to the proposal. Okay, so this is the proposal instructions. And basically the proposal and all the rest of the assignments will all be interconnected. And the idea is that you are writing a For Dummies book or a Complete Idiots book, something along those lines. And you're going to pick something that you want to write about, and it could be anything from ice fishing to some kind of computer, putting together a desktop computer. The choices are really limitless. Just something you're interested in and would like to learn more about and write about. The proposal is a book proposal. So if you were proposing this to the For Dummies people, you'd have to put together a document called a proposal where you talk about, what type of book you're interested in, the market overview for it, competition, and so on and so forth. And, basically it's sort of a plan for the book. And that's the proposal project. So let's skip forward then to the next stage, which is, there we go, the PowerPoint presentation. So for this one, basically you're taking that proposal that's in written form and you're turning that into a PowerPoint presentation. And again, since we're in an online class, you won't actually be presenting it. Instead, you'll just present your slides. And underneath the slides will be a space for the notes, or basically what you'd like to say on each one of those slides. But it just, basically, it's a PowerPoint form of the proposal that you did earlier. And then we have the documentation project. And for this, you're basically writing a sample chapter or 2 sample chapters from this book we've been proposing and presenting about. You don't have to write the full book, but it is a couple of the chapters from it, glossary of some key terms, and then a cover letter. So most of these projects have a cover letter that goes with them. And so you can see how all this ties together. And this is the big project for the class right here. This is 20% of the grade. So, you'll have a lot of time to work on it, but in a way, you've kind of been building up to it doing those earlier projects. And then finally, we have here the tutorial video. And I'm sure you have been on YouTube and looked at some of the wonderful tutorial videos they have up there, all these how-to do-it-yourself videos. I mean, you can really find these about just about anything. I think they're great. And I think it's worthwhile to get some practice doing these. I think this will be really important to you in the future. To even have minimal knowledge of how this process works. But most of the students have a lot of fun with this. And basically what you'll be doing is taking part of that book, the sample chapters you covered, some aspect, some process. If it's ice fishing, maybe how to set up the house or how to use an auger. Just something that you could turn into, say, a 5-minute video posted to YouTube. And the idea is it's instructional video, so it's going to have instructions and showing people how to do something. But there's also a marketing angle. So the idea is you'd put these videos out in a way to promote the book that you'd be writing. And so it all ties together. And when we get to this part, I'll talk about all the various options you have for ways to record the footage and whatnot. Okay, so that's a pretty quick and a dirty overview of these projects. The other stuff is mostly within MindTap and Edpuzzle, I guess. And that's about all I can think of. So I'll stop here. If you have any questions about these projects, again, remember I'll be doing individual videos on them later with much more detail. But if there's just something quick that you'd like to ask me now, please do so. Otherwise, just put no in the box, and I'll see you next time.